the most difficult period on your NoFap journey is the first 7 to 14 days. I like to call it the agitation phase. This is when you're most agitated and frustrated. If you've been engaging in watching explicit content and self-pleasure several times a week over years and years and years and years, to withdraw from such acts will initiate almost like a emergency alarm within your brain. Your brain is so used to getting its hit from feasting its eyes on all this pornography. And there's a certain stress relief mechanism which occurs at a certain time, which is you playing around with yourself ultimately. But you do that at a certain time. You know, you have almost like a routine that is deeply embedded in your mind. And so your mind's like, hang on a second, we haven't engaged in this act today. Something's wrong. We haven't released the stress up until this point today. Something's wrong. Normally you do this at this time. What's the matter? You know, and then alarms start ringing in your mind, right? And it's frustrating because you're used to releasing your stress. I say stress because it creates more stress. When you watch loads of porn and you play around with yourself on a regular basis, it does opposite of what you think it does. It may give you a temporary biological relief, but it only worsens your situation. It digs a deeper hole for you, which becomes harder to get out of, ultimately, right? So your mind's like, hang on a second, this ain't normal. And you find it very difficult because you're used to releasing your stress that way. So the first 7 to 14 days is where a lot of guys just fuck it up. And look, I've said this on my many NoFap videos that I've made in the past. I've said that, look, if you, let's say within 14 days, relapse twice, but you were somebody that was engaging in this act several times a day, several times a week, potentially, there's still an improvement because you've reduced the frequency. You're trying. You know, the effort is what counts here. You know, it's like somebody that's cut down from 40 cigarettes a day and now they're doing 3 or 4. You know, yes, they're still smoking, but the amount has significantly dropped. So that's still something to acknowledge. There's progress there. You know, small progress is better than no progress, right? And eventually you will eliminate entirely this destructive bad habit. You eliminate it by replacing it, not by just cutting it off. You just create a whole nother life that pulls you away from these destructive habits. A life where you have a beautiful woman in your life, where you don't need to resort to watching content online to please yourself. A life where you're so genuinely, keyword, genuinely busy with lots of different projects, whether it's building a business, learning an instrument, playing football, you know, boxing, doing jiu-jitsu. You've got so many projects that are occupying your time that you're no longer just sat there like a sedated animal in your apartment playing around with yourself because you've got nothing else to do. You know, free time, and I've said this as well before many times, free time is the devil. When you are looking to achieve greatness, having so much free time that you're not intentionally and deliberately looking to fill up with productive activities, when you just have so much free time and you're not doing anything with it, that's when the bad habits come in. That's when you start to fill your free time with destructive habits, right? Like smoking, doing drugs, watching porn, because you've got all the time and no else to do that. You know, human beings left to their own devices without really engaging in productive action will seek to destruct. You know, that's why too much comfort is harmful. It really is. It's that saying, right? Weak men create hard times. You know, and hard times create strong men, right? Strong men go out there deliberately seeking difficulty. because they know in the difficulty they will grow. They have a consistent gym routine, right? They eat great food. They go out there and pursue discomfort in their career. Maybe, they're in sales and they're cold calling every day and they're getting rejected and they're trying to build something, or they're seeking funding for their business and one door closes, they try again, another door closes, they try again, another door closes, and they try 17 times, 18 times before they even get someone interested, and that door may close and they keep again. So remember that you've got to create a whole nother life that will draw you away from this life of pornography and self-pleasure. And just tell yourself, listen, you know what? I went 7-8 days and then I relapsed. Shit. But you know what? I used to do this several times a week. I used to do this 7 days a week, 5 days a week. So, I've dropped it to once. But whatever you do, do not allow that relapse to, completely disrupt your progress. Because what happens oftentimes is the guy will relapse. And I've spoken to guys on coaching calls about this. And then the guilt of the relapse will cause them to relapse again the next day and again the next day. So look, when you relapse, just tell yourself, you know what? It is what it is. I fucked up, but tomorrow's a new day. Okay, whatever you do, don't just say, well, I'm such a loser and this and this. And then tomorrow you do it again and then you do it again. And then it becomes harder to reinitiate the process because you've allowed the guilt to just take you completely off course. Look, it's challenging. It really is, man. I mean, this device here allows you to have access for free to millions, I would argue millions of free pornographic sites. Free. Remember, they're never free because you're paying with your soul. And that is the ultimate cost. You're paying with your masculine energy. That's gone. They drain that out of you, literally. And this may seem like an obvious bit of advice, but for those of you watching for the first time, curate an environment that pulls you away from this stuff. Stop consuming. If you are paying for OnlyFans, get rid of it. If you're following people on Twitter and stuff that post thirst traps, unfollow, whatever. Try your best to clean up your explore page, your For You page. Guys that complain to me about seeing so much, the guys that complain about seeing so many half-naked women on their explore page, on their For You page. And look, they can do whatever they want to do. I'm not here to cause an argument about what they can or cannot do. Look, it's their accounts. They can do whatever they want. But as a man, there should be no reason why you're following these OnlyFans stars. Because A, it's pathetic, right? They don't know you exist. And there you are commenting away underneath their posts. You're so beautiful, honey. Aired. And it's just a list of extremely pathetic, weak men who think that they have a chance of being acknowledged. And some of them do, but they have to pay, and it's pathetic. So look, clean up your algorithms. The Instagram algorithm, the TikTok algorithm gives you more of what you regularly engage with. So if you're engaging with these half-naked women, women wearing swimwear and stuff like that, it's just going to show you more of that stuff. I guess you could say judge a man by his Instagram algorithm, or his TikTok For You page. Because it does say a lot about where his time goes and his energy goes. He's there liking away, oh my God, she's got a vows, she's got this, that's all you're going to see. And that is going to ensure that you remain in this vicious cycle of just feasting your eyes on explicit content, self-pleasure. Meanwhile, there's somebody else out there getting tons of stuff done, progressing their personal life, progressing their career, and you're there liking away, commenting under Instagram models that will never know that you exist. So do your part to clean up your algorithms, okay? So to wrap up, gents, first 7 to 14 days, overcome the agitation phase. It's going to be difficult. If you relapse, it ain't the end of the world. It is what it is. Go again next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.